You ready? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gotta Love Them Movies. I'm Mike, your host, and like I already said, this is Gotta Love Them Movies. What is up, movie lovers? You guys are back for another installment of Gotta Love Them Movies Live with Mike. We've got a lot of really cool things going on. We've got so many brand new topics to talk about today. And joining us all the way from Washington Heights. I'm in Harlem and he's in Washington Heights. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for my very good friend, Mr. Andy Danish. Andy, how we doing? Try Andy. Try that again. I'm not sure. Not sure we can hear you.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
There he is. How's it going, Andy?
It's going good, man. Just chilling in my studio and ready to talk about some movies. I'm a movie geek like yourself.
Ooh, I love me some movies. Andy, your image seems to be paused. Let's see if we can do anything to try and. Oh, there we go. Okay, now you're live. Now you're moving around a little bit. There we go. Andy, tell us, before we get too far into this, what do you do for a living? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I go on lots of sexy adventures, in case you didn't know. Lots. And when I'm not going on those sexy adventures, I'm a voice actor. I will work mostly from home, and especially in the current climate, where everybody has to be working from home more or less. I narrate commercials, I narrate cartoons, video games, a lot of corporate work, e-learning, IVR. I recently worked on a new series called Stinky Dog, which is currently airing in multiple languages in different countries. And I also add commercials airing right now, one that features a cat, where I am not the voice for the cat, but ironically it just has nothing but cats. So I think this particular spot didn't even need my voiceover in it.
But we have it anyway, and we love you all the more for it, Andy. So thank you so much for joining us on Gotta Love Them Movies. You are, as you said, you work in the entertainment industry, specifically in the voiceover sector, and you come with your own brand of expertise, and you are a part of the entertainment industry. So I would love to get a lot of your opinions and viewpoints on some of the stuff that we talk about today. But ladies and gentlemen, what is it that we are going to talk about today? Well, today, here is our show order. Today, I'm going to tell you first and foremost how to subscribe on YouTube to the Gotta Love Them Movies movie channel, whatever it is that we do here. I'm going to tell you how to subscribe on YouTube. Next, we're going to cover our daily entertainment news. There's some really big news bombs that dropped yesterday, as a matter of fact. Then we're going to go into Throwback Thursday. On Tuesday, we did Toy Tuesdays. Today, it is Throwback Thursday. What is Throwback Thursday? Well, we do 1 year later movie reviews. So 1 year ago this week, the movie Ready or Not came out in theaters. So we're going to talk a little bit about it and see if it still holds up. Is it still as good or not as good as we thought it was 1 year ago? And bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. My gain is having some crazy issues. It is readjusting itself. So if my voice gets louder, apologies, that's not me. That is my audio interface doing that all by itself. So that's a little crazy. After we talk about the movie Ready or Not, we're going to get into our Gotta Love Them Movies mailbag. That is where you send us questions before the show, and we just pick up those questions and talk about them, address them here on the show. And afterwards, we're going to take your live questions. So if you are watching this live, go ahead and start leaving some comments. I will give you prompts throughout the show to most definitely jump down to the comment section, leave us a few comments so we can talk about what you want to talk about in live. In live? Did I say that right, Andy? In live?
You said it right.
Okay. We're doing this all in live, you guys. Anyway, so that's pretty much the show order, the run order of the show today. Let me put my camera down a little bit so I'm framed. This is all live, you guys. This is this is all off the skin of our teeth. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about that. Whatchamacallit? The YouTube page. Say what?
You tell me.
Yeah, we're gonna do it all, ladies and gentlemen. This is how you subscribe to the YouTube page. Just go over to YouTube.com and then plug in GottaLoveThemMovies and click that subscribe button. When you click that subscribe button on the Gotta Love Them Movies YouTube channel, that does a few different things. One, builds our subscriber base, which is always a good thing. Two, once I have enough subscribers and enough likes on each video and enough shares from each video, not to mention comments in the comment section, I'm going to start earning some ad revenue, which means at no cost, at no expense to you, at virtually no effort to the viewing audience, I can start generating some revenue and I can make this my full-time job. So if you like our content, if you like what it is that we're doing, if you like the fact that the gain on my microphone keeps turning itself up, go ahead and go over to that YouTube channel and click the subscribe button. And not only that, but once we hit 1,000 subscribers, we are going to be moving this show from Facebook over to YouTube. YouTube has a few extra features that make this show run a little bit smoother, a little bit easier. Hopefully on the YouTube channel, my gain won't keep turning itself up automatically. I love this interface, but today is the first. Maybe if I click it again. Maybe that's what I was doing. Maybe I had to click it twice. I think that was my problem. I was only clicking it once. All right, let's see how this goes. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's how you subscribe to the YouTube channel. So head on over and do that. And right now, we're going to get into a little movie news.
What?
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 All right, here we are doing a little movie news. First up, you may have heard about this. Actor Jensen Ackles, a very, very popular actor from the very, very popular series Supernatural over on the, what is it? The WB? Is that what we're calling it? The CW, the WB, UPN, whatever channel it is now. Supernatural is coming to an end. I think we all knew this, but one of its main stars, Jensen Ackles, was just cast in season 3 of The Boys. This article comes to us from Deadline. This is not Jensen Ackles' first time working with showrunner Eric Kripke. Eric Kripke, obviously a showrunner of Supernatural. Now he's getting cast in season 3 of The Boys. Andy, this is I don't know if this is the first time that you're hearing about this, but what are your thoughts? What strikes you about this?
I mean, it is the first time I'm hearing about this. I will admit I've only watched the first few episodes of season 1 of The Boys, but it is a stellar show, and I'm sure he's a fine addition to the cast. Has him included in yet who he's playing at all? Or is it just saying he's going to be in the cast?
It has. He is going to be playing. Oh, shoot! Hold on, I just had it. He is playing. Where is it? Hold, please. Hold, please. Oh boy, how's this for professionalism? Doing a live show on Facebook.
All I'll say is I love it. Thumbs up. Thumbs up to Jensen being on The Boys.
Essentially,
I'm gonna do the Roger Ebert approach. 2 thumbs up.
The Robert Robert. Oh man.
Roger.
Everything is falling apart. Soldier Boy. That's who he's playing. Soldier Boy. He's like a Captain America type in the Boys universe. Yeah.
I give him a thumbs up. I say 2 thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
I'll be doing the Roger Ebert and the Gene Siskel approach, where they both give a thumbs up.
Ooh.
Not one down, not one up, both up.
What if Roger Ebert gives 2 thumbs up and Gene Siskel also gives 2 thumbs up? That's 4 thumbs.
I don't know. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
Well.
Anyway, yeah. So I think this could be really cool. Jensen Ackles has a really huge fan base behind him. And I mean, The Boys was a great show. It is a great show. Supernatural was a great show. My gain turning itself up naturally is not so great.
2 thumbs down on your gamekeeping going up.
2 thumbs down. This is crazy. Can anybody hear this? Is this bothering anybody else except for me? Oh, man. All right. Let's see if we can get the smart game to control itself now. All right. Anyway, doesn't matter. Live problems. Ladies and gentlemen, so that is that. What are your thoughts about Jensen Ackles joining the cast of The Boys? I think it's actually pretty cool. It's a great show. He's a great actor. People have been talking about this a lot online. So jump down into the comment section and let me know what your thoughts are. Now, moving on to our second news story of the day. Olivia Wilde. This news dropped maybe around 8 o'clock p.m. on East Coast time. Olivia Wilde has kind of signed on to direct a new Marvel movie over at Sony. This is not going to be one of the MCU films, but rather this is more so going to be in the Sony like the Sony Spider-Verse, the Venom. We have Morbius. There's been talk about and I hate this term, a female-centric or a female-led superhero show. Why can't it just be a superhero show? You know, why does it have to be gendered in that regard? So, I have a few theories on this. I think it's actually really cool. Andy, what are your thoughts?
I will definitely be curious because I have not seen any other Olivia Wilde movies that she's directed. If she's directed anything else, has she?
She has. Earlier, was it last year? She wrote and directed. It's on the tip of my tongue. It was a show with the 2 girls in high school. It was kind of a coming of age. They compared it. It was like a female version of Superbad. Oh shoot, what was it?
Well, I have not seen any of her previous, or not that I can recall. Last thing I saw her in was the Clint Eastwood movie that came out last year, where she played the reporter who, that Clint Eastwood movie. That was the last thing I can remember seeing her in, but I'll definitely be curious about this. And good on Sony for keeping pumping out content, especially in what's going on right now. And I'm assuming that they probably learned from Venom, the missteps that they made with Venom. You know, because with Venom, I feel like they tried to mimic the let's make everything dark mentality, which was sort of echoed and done with Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers didn't have as much success with trying to copy that formula. So I think if she's able to be true to her own style and her own vision, she'll probably have more success.
Yeah, I agree with that a lot. And I think one of the smart things that Sony is doing right now is they are trying to follow in the footsteps. If I can, wow, I am sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize wholeheartedly. My gain is all over the place from my microphone. Every time I turn it down, it jumps right back up. So apologies. Please bear with me in this my horrible time of need. But yeah, I think Sony is kind of pulling a page out of Marvel Studios' playbook, which is to look at really popular indie directors. I mean, this is not the first time that they have been playing this game.
Well, with Taika Waititi, for example, when they brought him in to helm the Thor movies, that was something that previously I think he was really only known for What We Do in the Shadows. And then he started work, I think after that he had done some other projects, and then when he worked on Thor, he developed some clout as a director, and then he had that movie with Scarlett Johansson about the Nazis and hiding from the Nazis, the one where he plays Hitler. So he started having
Jojo Rabbit,
that's it. So yeah, he did Jojo Rabbit, and then he had some mainstream appeal. So I think, yeah, if this could bump Olivia Wilde's profile up as a director, then more power to her and more power to Sony for providing more opportunities. Especially since, they should also be taking a page out of Warner Brothers' playbook with Patty Jenkins directing Wonder Woman, trying to create more content with more opportunities and more availability.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a really cool move. There is a lot of. I'm going to move my microphone back a little bit, so if it's going to be a little echoey, ladies and gentlemen, my apologies. Just because I can't control the gain right now. Anyway, there is a lot of speculation online right now. There was speculation before Olivia Wilde tweeted this late last night, which was that the particular movie that she was going to direct was Spider-Woman. Jessica Drew being the first of the Spider-Women. Also, Spider-Gwen being another extremely popular incarnation of Spider-Woman. It is my opinion. It is my and then Olivia Wilde got on her Twitter account and just tweeted the spider emoji. That's all she tweeted right after the news broke. So it's kind of confirmation that she is writing and directing a Spider Person project. Olivia Wilde is known for being a huge champion of women in cinema, women in art, and a lot of people think that she's going to be directing the next the first Spider-Woman movie. I have a different opinion on this. And let me tell you exactly what that opinion is. I have a feeling as I bring this up, I have a feeling she may be directing the very first Silk film. Andy, are you familiar with Silk?
I am familiar with Silk, but minimal familiarness with Silk.
So Silk is her name is Cindy Moon. She was in Peter Parker's high school class, going through school and whatever. The same exact spider that bit Peter Parker crawled across the floor and bit Cindy Moon. Cindy Moon then she was, I can't remember exactly how she was taken or repurposed or transferred or whatever, but she was essentially taken away from her classmates and brought into a kind of like a secret box. This gets like really deep into the Spider-Verse, okay? Really deep into the Spider-Verse. There are these people that go around and they go from universe to, like Spider Universe to Spider Universe, and they feed on the energy of other Spider people. And so they go around from universe to universe, killing Spider-Mans in whatever universe they happen to be in, like sucking their energy, because that's how they live, that's how they survive. So Cindy Moon was taken away, and she was put in kind of like this box, or kind of like an underground bunker, where her signature, her energy could not be found or registered or tracked or traced. And she was kept there until somehow, some way, Peter Parker, it was either Superior Spider-Man, Doc Ock, or it was Peter Parker, Spider-Man. One of the two, doesn't matter. Somehow she was freed. They began a romantic relationship. She is faster than Spider-Man. She actually shoots the webs out of her fingers, unlike Peter Parker, where he has to have the
web shooters.
The web shooters, the mechanical web shooters. So she's faster. She has a stronger Spidey sense. She's not quite as strong as Peter Parker Spider-Man, but I think Cindy Moon as a on-screen presence, Silk, could be really cool. This is my secret hope, and I really hope that this is true. Andy, what are your thoughts?
I think it could be really cool, and I'd be curious as to the tone and genre-specific direction she takes it, because, obviously there's superhero movie, but would she try to play it off as a coming-of-age story similar to what Peter Parker's story would be in the newer Spider-Man movies? Would it be a little bit, like more CW-y, to use for a better expression, where it's like teen romance, or maybe would it have more of a sci-fi feel? So I'm curious as to what specific tone she would try to set with the movie.
Oh, that would be really interesting. That would be really interesting. Yeah.
Because I think with a character like here, you could obviously go in a multitude of different directions, especially since Sony has been open to being more creative recently.
Yeah.
Take Into the Spider-Verse, for example.
Totally.
You know, that just was completely different, completely creative, visually stimulating, and wasn't trying to be anything that it was prior. So I think they are willing to take a chance and maybe try this and be different and not try to necessarily fit into a box. I could see this being something that's super bright and campy, and I don't know. For some reason, I want to see this made at the same pace as like an anime movie, or not like anime, but like the same way they tried to make Detective Pikachu as like and that's Pokemon, where it was bright and happy, but it was still like live action, but it was like the character's behavior was very cartoony and high energy and
Right.
over the top.
Right.
Or even the anime Into the Spider-Verse version of Spider-Woman, where she had like a robot and she was a Japanese schoolgirl,
Like
who was just,
Penny
like,
Parker.
super smart.
Penny Parker. Yeah.
So, yeah, like Penny Parker. So there's lots of options, I think.
You are correct. There are lots of options. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. Do you think that Olivia Wilde is going to be directing a Silk movie? Do you think she's going to be directing a Spider-Woman movie? Is it going to be Spider-Gwen? Do you think they're going to go in the Jessica Drew direction? Or do you think they're actually going to turn Mary Jane Watson and do that version of Spider-Woman? There have been many incarnations. So what do you think? What are your thoughts? Let us know down in the comment section below. All right, guys, moving on. That concludes our daily news portion. So now we need to move on to our Day of the Week special. Today's Day of the Week special is Throwback Thursdays.
You know, when it comes to oddball titles, The Men Who Stare at Goats would be hard to bleat. He even sings in bowling alleys. Spare me. Frozen. Very cool.
All right, Throwback Thursdays. Ladies and gentlemen, today is the day that we are going to be talking about and discussing the movie Ready or Not. Do I even have this up yet? Yes, I do. Ready or Not is a film starring not... now we're talking Olivia Wilde. I have that name on the top of my head. I actually don't know the name of the actress from this film, but she looks exactly like Harley Quinn.
She's also Australian too, I think.
Is she?
Yeah, I watched her do an interview, and yeah, she has an Aussie accent. So, same home country. But yeah, she was great in it. She was fantastic in it.
That's absolutely perfect. Can't think. Harley Quinn. I'm so sorry. What is the actress's name?
Well, also Henry Czerny is in it. Also, as is Andy McDowell.
No.
And
Right. Yeah, but what I'm saying is the actress who plays Harley Quinn. I can't think of her name.
oh, Margot Robbie.
Thank you, Margot Robbie. Yes, she is a Margot
when it comes
Robbie.
to oddball
Whoops,
titles-
sorry, wrong thing. She is a Margot Robbie lookalike. When this movie came out, everybody thought it was Margot Robbie. It is not, as you pointed out. But yes, Andy, you are correct. Andy McDowell, Andy Czerny from Mission Impossible fame, plus many other things. Andy McDowell, Groundhog's Day, one of her more famous films. Andy, what were your initial impressions of this film when you saw it a year ago?
I thought it was really creative, really cool. I liked the effects. It was definitely very, very suspenseful. I loved how it ended. And it was just wacko and crazy because it didn't work hard to mislead you or misdirect you. But at the same time, there was some sense of misdirection going on. And I thought that, I liked the effects. I liked all the little toys that they threw into it. I liked all the little traps in the house. I liked, the grudge matches between the butler and the woman they were trying to test in the family with the game with hide and seek. And I loved obviously, Andy McDowell and Henry Cizerni's chemistry. Henry Cizerni flipping out and like not being able to keep his stuff together. Andy McDowell kind of just doing a classic Southern debutante, nothing can shake her character. So I thought she was really cool.
Yeah, I kind of had a lot of similar thoughts along the same lines. I thought that it was a really fun movie. I loved the characterizations. I loved the relationships. How the not Margot Robbie character, she got to interact with like pretty much everyone from the family. For those of you who don't understand the basic premise or the basic tenet of the film Ready or Not, the basic idea is that this woman marries into a super rich family. This family got they gained their family fortune through board games, which eventually led into other types of games, like online games and video games. Any type of a game. They went into. I can hear my gain going up. This is crazy. They earned tons and tons and tons of money. Anyway, it's a family tradition. Anytime somebody new joins the family, right after the wedding ceremony, they all sit around this big table and they have to draw a card from this box. And this box tells them what kind of a game they're going to play. If they pull the card hide and seek, then the entire family has to kill that person before the sun comes up. It's one of those things. It's crazy. It's weird. It's ridiculous. It's a bananas kind of premise, but the way that it plays out is actually really fun. Andy, have you had a chance to see this movie recently?
Actually, when I watched it, it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. So you saw it fairly recently. Okay.
It's funny because when I watched it, as soon as I saw the goat scene where they're in the barn and the goats are there,
well, let's not give too many spoilers away. Let's not give too many spoilers here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that was this type of talk. And as soon as I saw the giant dragon with one eye and purple and started speaking English, I knew that.
Spoilers. But yeah, so there was a particular scene involving goats. I think we'll go that far to say. What were you going to say about the scene?
I just knew what the driving force behind it as soon as I saw those goats. Because you're already talking about a family that is participating in these sadistic traditions already. So you put sadism and goats together, and only one thing comes to mind.
Yeah, I didn't quite figure it out at the same time that you did, but I thought it was really smart. I thought it was really clever the way that the story played out, and that they stayed true and honest to the premise. That there wasn't the way the story plays out. It goes back and forth and back and forth. And it could have gone a number of different directions, but I like that they stayed firm. This movie, when it came out, I think it currently rests at an 88 on Rotten Tomatoes. I would go so far to say that, yeah, it is warranted 88% on Rotten Tomatoes. Not that Rotten Tomatoes is an indication of quality, but it is an indication of where the movie sits. It's a. I told you guys, you're gonna have to bear with me in this game thing. This is crazy. This is driving me nuts a little bit. Maybe I'll just take these off. If it gets too loud for you, please just. I'm so sorry. My apologies. This is crazy, and I don't know how to control it.
I'm enjoying myself because I'm just looking at all the toys on your shelf. So basically, Every time you're talking, I'm just like looking at your toys.
Well,
Like,
hey,
I'm sorry, what did you say, Mike?
That's a great segue for as a reminder for Toy Tuesdays. Remember, Jeff Goldblum is up for grabs. If anybody wants Jeff Goldblum, go ahead and comment section below and type Toy Tuesdays, and make sure that you like and share this video. And subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's what makes you eligible to win Jeff Goldblum from Thor Ragnarok for Toy Tuesdays. Anyway, getting back to the topic at hand. Ready or Not, I think it's a really fun movie. I think it still holds up just as well 1 year later as it did a year ago. I think it's just as interesting. And I think if you've never seen even if you have seen the film before, go back and rewatch it. Kim and I just went back and rewatched it a few nights ago. And it still is as fun and interesting. And if you know the plot twist, rewatching the film from the beginning kind of gives you a completely new perspective. And you're like, oh, okay, I see how they're building this whole thing. And it was really fun. It was really interesting. Andy?
Yeah, I mean, even watch it, even if I already spoiled it for you. But let's pretend I didn't say anything. Forget that there's a scene where they see those animals that I had aforementioned. Those animals don't exist. Not at all.
Well, in all fairness, I feel like with the 5 people watching the show right now, I mean, we're probably not going to be huge spoilers. So it's in Avengers Endgame, this movie is not. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, have you had a chance to see Ready or Not? Are you looking forward to seeing it? Does our talking about it at all get you more interested in checking it out? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. All right, guys. So that is our final talking point for the film Ready or Not. So now it's time to open up the Gotta Love Them Movies mailbag. Right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to open up the Gotta Love Them Movies mailbag. If you haven't done so already, you can always email us a question or topic, whatever you want to talk about, whether it's fresh movie news, whether it's old movie news, whether you just want to get something off of your chest. If something's been bugging you for a while, go ahead and email us at GottaLoveThemMovies@gmail.com. Doing so, I can receive these questions whenever you want to send them in. So go ahead and send them in whenever you want, and we'll pick the best ones and put them on the show. The gain. Cool. So we can do that. Let's move on to our first email of the day. And our first email of the day comes to us from Alice, all the way from London. And Alice is wondering, what is your take on Warner Brothers' decision to release Tenet internationally next month, and whether or not you think piracy is going to affect the film financially? Thank you for your question, Alice. That's actually a really interesting perspective coming from London, because the film is being released, not domestically in the United States, but internationally around the world. It's coming out in the UK, it's coming out in Australia, various other countries. I mean, China has not quite yet opened up the market, but it is coming out. I think various Middle Eastern countries have decided to open this film as well internationally. What was your question? What is my take on them opening it up internationally? Well, first of all, this film is under contract there's a special agreement with Christopher Nolan that they must release this film in theaters first. Because Christopher Nolan, it is also built into his contract that however much money this film makes, he gets 20%. This is, I don't want to say it's an unheard of deal, but it's kind of crazy. Christopher Nolan is under contract to receive 20% of the box office, and that's why this movie is kind of under contract that it must be released in theaters. Do I think it is going to add to piracy? I don't think so. whatever piracy is going to happen. I mean, look at any movie. Avengers Endgame is probably the best example of all examples for the next foreseeable future, as it was the biggest movie. It was the most anticipated movie of probably the decade, if not the century. Who knows? It's debatable. It's definitely debatable. But yeah, Andy, you have a differing opinion on the matter?
No, I mean, you're jumping to conclusions there, man. Whoa, do your research.
That's fair.
Don't make assumptions.
That's fair. That's totally fair. All I'm saying is Avengers Endgame, super anticipated movie. I know Tenet is also a super anticipated movie. However, whatever people are going to pirate and stream, it's a fairly small percentage. I mean, yes, it happens. Spoilers, I think we're going to have to worry more about spoilers when this movie comes out internationally versus how the film performs financially. People, still in North America and around the world, people want that big budget, up on the big screen. They want the experience. Some people just want to see the film. They just want to pass the time. So yes, there are most definitely going to be those people that will watch it on an airplane and they don't care about the experience. They just need something to pass the time. But for those of us that care deeply, I think the big experience in the theatrics is going to be the big draw. Andy, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I was just going to chime in talking about your thoughts on people wanting to have that theatrical experience and, experiencing that big budget tentpole. And I was thinking about, people actually going into the theaters. And I read an interesting article on Medium talking about how Hollywood might go under but then come back, and how movie theaters might go under and then come back, where essentially the idea was movie theaters will become owned by major studios like Warner Brothers or Disney, and they will use them as venues only for their own tentpole movies, as opposed to multiple movies or different types of movies from different studios. So meaning Warner Brothers would have their own movie theaters established to only show movies like Tenet to show on the big screen for people who still want to come in and see those movies. And that would give them leeway to maybe charge more money, maybe adjust the seating, do things that would maybe warrant or drive people to come to the theaters again. And I think that obviously, being that Nolan's movie being released when it is, they can't do that with this particular movie. But I think like a couple of years down the line, if there's like a vaccine out there or some sort of safe, established way that people can trust going into a movie theater and not feel at risk, I think that's what's going to end up happening, since so many movie theaters have closed now. And they probably, there might be some way that studios might want to capitalize on this or take advantage of this. That's really the only thought I had on that. But, yeah.
What do you think about, because theaters are reopening throughout the United States, not 100%, but probably about 80% of movie theaters are opening next week. Not in New York City, not in Los Angeles, but around the country, there are going to be a lot of movie theaters opening next week. We have the new, there's a new film coming out with Russell Crowe, Unhinged. There's the new Unhinged film coming out. Shortly thereafter, was September 1st. I think there's a few other big releases coming out. Mulan is not coming out. That is going straight to Disney Plus. I have my own thoughts about whether they might pull it from Disney Plus and put it back in theaters where it originally was. Tenet obviously is going to do that. We're going to have a pre-Tenet release of Inception. Some of these movies are going to start. Some of our big movies are going to start coming out next week, as early as next week. So, what do you think about in terms of spoilers? Because I know with bigger releases, like a lot of the Avengers movies, starting the Joss Whedon with the first Avengers movie, they have been releasing internationally first, and then a week later coming to the United States for whatever reason that makes more money.
Yeah.
Do you think that by Tenet releasing internationally and then coming to the United States in either a week or 2 weeks, A, that we're going to have the problem of spoilers, and B, do you think this could actually help the movie financially?
I mean, yeah, like you said, it's true that a lot of movies tend to get released in China first, for example, and how well they do in China will be a good indicator of how well they do internationally because, usually overseas box office usually tends to almost either equal American box office sales or eclipse it in many instances. And I think that maybe the game's plan. Well, I don't know. It may not be the game plan for some movies that they pushed back, like Wonder Woman 1984 or the Halloween Kills movie. I have a feeling that maybe they pushed those back so that way they can try to aim for some sort of American theatrical release down the line. So I don't know if they necessarily intend to release those particular movies internationally first, but I can see a lot of other movies going that route. Especially if maybe they don't. These are movies that maybe they don't plan to if they were movies that were made with a higher budget, for example, and they have to earn a lot of money or have to make a major amount of money back in order to break even on it, even if it's poorly received. Like, for example, the Matt Damon movie, where the Great Wall movie, that movie did a lot better overseas than it did in the United States.
Yeah, but that was a bad movie. That was a bad movie.
But it did really well overseas.
You are right.
Like, it did well in China. It did well in Europe. It made a lot of money over there. Or like Batman versus Superman also made a lot more money overseas than it did in the States. It's made a lot of money. So I think it depends on how much money the studio puts into the film will determine whether or not they release it or if they hold out on actually putting it, streaming it theatrically or showing it theatrically.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the question is, what do you think about the release of Tenet internationally? Is it going to help the film? Is it going to hurt the film? Do we have to worry about spoilers all that much? And, is the film going to hurt financially? What are your thoughts? Jump down into the comment section and let us know what you think. All right, with that out of the way, let's move on to email question number 2. And our second question of the day comes to us from Justin from Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. Fun fact, Andy, in high school football, because I grew up in Oil City, Pennsylvania, we used to play Punxsutawney in high school football. It was kind of fun.
Wow.
So
that is pretty cool.
Yeah. So Justin says, what was the last movie you saw in theaters? I know what movie I last saw in theaters. Andy, what was the last movie you saw in theaters?
Oh, good question. I think it was Sonic the Hedgehog.
Not a terrible movie. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible.
I appreciated it personally, and I think that what made me love it were the little Easter eggs that kind of popped up in it. The one thing that really stood out for me in that movie was, in the game originally they had the Emerald Zone music, where part of the theme is da 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 da.
Oh yeah.
But then like one of the scenes where they kind of have like a light sort of like full piece orchestra scene, and they have like a grand piano. They have the grand piano playing like da 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 da. So it just pops up randomly, like while James Marsden is like painting his house and like planning to move in with his girlfriend or fiance, and I'm like, oh my god, that's the Emerald Zone Emerald Zone theme from the original game.
Well, didn't James Marsden also live right off of Green Hill Road, or something like Green Hill Lane, Green Hill Road, something like that?
Oh, I didn't know that.
There was a small, tiny little Easter egg. Anyway, the last movie that I saw in theaters was The Invisible Man with Elizabeth Moss. It was I guess technically it's a horror film. To me, it was more of a suspense thriller. I absolutely loved it. I thought this was such a cool reimagining of the Invisible Man character, kind of making it like a 21st century counterpart. I thought it was really smart. I thought it was really clever the way that they played, because it's the original film. Andy, I don't know if you've seen the original film, but it plays more of like his like the Invisible Man's adventures becoming invisible, and then going on like these weird journeys of, oh, look at what I can do because I'm invisible, nobody can see me. But with Elizabeth Moss, it was more of like her psychological journey of like, no, he turned himself invisible and now he's coming to get me. You are crazy, lady. What are you talking about? No, he really did this. I thought it was really clever. I thought it was really inventive. Andy, did you have a chance to see Invisible Man?
I didn't, but when you were bringing up the original versions that were made, you started making me thinking of the Chevy Chase version that came out like in the 80s.
Yes, I remember that.
And it was just him being really snarky and like playing tricks on people. Where it was funny. It was like half comedy, half noir, almost. So they kind of tried to blend the two. You know, they had made him have sort of like, you know, give like an internal monologue. It almost felt like they were trying to make a Naked Gun movie with the Invisible Man. That's like the vibe I got from it.
I haven't seen those movies because they made two of them, right?
Yeah.
I need to go back and rewatch those because I mean Chevy Chase in his early years he was genius. He was a comedic tour de force. Fletch, come on. Spies Like Us, Three Amigos,
Yeah.
Come on. Like Chevy Chase was really truly really funny. Anyway, guys, question to you guys. What was the last movie you guys saw in theaters? Jump down in the comment section. Let us know. Let's chit chat about that. All right. So with that down and out of the way, we move on to our last emailed question of the day, and this comes to us from Kevin, who is a hop, skip, and a jump across the river in Newark. And Kevin asks, "What are some movies you saw for the first time?" Sorry. What are some movies you saw for the first time while stuck at home? Any favorites? Any you hated? I've thought about this a moment. Kim and I have been watching so much stuff. We're currently right in the middle of season 2 of Doom Patrol. We started watching, what's HBO Max? Just started Lovecraft Country. We just started watching Lovecraft Country. We've been watching so many things. We watched Jaws the other night. But two movies that I'd never seen before. One that I love. I absolutely went head over heels, fall in love with this movie. And the other one I thought I was really gonna like, because it's kind of right up my alley, and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. Andy, I'm gonna tell you one of the two films. One of these I loved, the other one I hated. Which one do you think? Hang on. My door just opened. Go ahead and vamp for a second, Andy. I need to go and close my door.
Oh. I'm sorry. I'm still watching your toys. Your toys are really cool. Especially Juggernaut.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I just had to. I guess the wind blew the door open and sound was coming in. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, so one of these movies I loved. One of these movies I hated. I'm gonna bring this up so you can see. This is the film Arkansas. It stars Liam Hemsworth. I'm looking at his face and I can't think of it. Wow. Vince Vaughn, Liam Hemsworth, Vince Vaughn, and John Malkovich. Have you heard of this movie, Andy? Have you seen anything about it? Do you know anything about the movie Arkansas?
I know nothing about it.
I absolutely hated this film. This was a complete garbage film, in my opinion. The basic story is that Liam Hemsworth is a drug runner, but across state lines. John Malkovich is a police officer. He's a sheriff. He's like a county sheriff that is working with other local drug dealers to help them run the drugs, and then Vince Vaughn is kind of like the drug cartel leader or whatever of the county. I thought this was going to be really cool because it's got like really great names attached to it. It seemed like kind of a fun and hokey premise. This movie was completely terrible. I absolutely hated this movie. Now, the other movie that I saw, I went into this movie blind. I knew Ron Perlman was in it, and I was like, hey, Ron Perlman. Okay, cool. It's a French film. So if you know, Ron Perlman was in a French film. If you know what that film is, you have a clear idea as to what I'm talking about. Andy, do you have any idea?
Hellboy.
Wrong. It is The Lost City of Children. This is
Oh, yes, I have seen it, actually.
crazy, bizarre, like the art direction of this film was off the wall bonkers. The story is completely insane. All that being said, this is a fascinating movie. Oh my dear heavens. I loved this movie so much. I've just been thinking about this movie very recently, and I really want to go back and rewatch it. It's not the movie you can watch back to back every single day. Whoa, this movie really caught me off guard. I loved it. I loved everything about it. Andy, I don't know if you have any movies that you've been watching over quarantine that you'd never seen before. Any that you loved? Any that you hated? Thoughts? Anything?
Yeah, actually, funny enough, I've been going back and watching a lot of old, cheesy 80s and 70s horror movies, like stuff that was like either sequels to movies sequels to older horror movies I had already seen, or like older sequels, like the Friday the 13th movies, or like the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, or Texas Chainsaw sequels. And I'm just like, these are movies that I kind of always knew existed because I'd always been a fan of older slasher movies. It's kind of like a little, it's a shame. I'm a big horror movie fan, and I like all types, both well-made ones as well as cheesy ones. And there's funny enough, there was one Friday the 13th movie that came out every year during the 80s. The last one that came out during the 80s was called Jason Takes Manhattan. And literally, you look at it and you think that, first I started thinking of the Muppets Take Manhattan first, just because, it's a cheesy premise of taking a famous character and putting him in New York.
And it's a very similar title, too.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they show a trailer, and they show Jason, standing next to the George Washington Bridge in, like, this New York City skyline. And, the trailer would just be like, Jason Takes Manhattan. And, he's, like, all intimidated. But if you watch this movie, only the last 15 minutes of it actually takes place in New York, in Manhattan. Like, the first 3/4 of it is, like, they're in Camp Crystal Lake, and they get on a ferry boat in Camp Crystal Lake because it's a bunch of seniors at a high school going on a senior trip on a ferry boat to New York. And somehow this small camp lake in Camp Crystal Lake can access a river and can get to New York City somehow. Go figure. And then, Jason gets on board the boat and he starts, like, killing all the teenagers, and everybody's, like, running away from him. And they get to New York, and they have, like, maybe a couple minutes of footage of him walking through Times Square, or, like, them on a subway. And it's like one of those movies where it's like, if you like those movies, watch it, but don't have high expectations, and it's a very misleading title. And also just catching up on, like, earlier cheesy horror movies, like old Halloween movies, old Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. So that's been my bag. That's basically the type of movies that I've been watching for the most part. Although I did watch the first season of Doom Patrol, though. Doom Patrol was great.
Doom Patrol is incredible.
I love what's his face? Alan in it.
Brendan Fraser?
Brendan Fraser and Alan Tudyk.
Oh, Alan Tudyk. Yeah.
For me, he kept the pace of the show going really smoothly.
Yeah.
Like his, storyteller approach, and him, like, I think it was him who really did a good job of just keeping things moving and keeping things rolling along smoothly. But yeah, the cast does have great chemistry. I liked Cyborg in it a lot, and I liked this version of Cyborg, I have to say, more than the Justice League
Ray Fisher
movie of Cyborg with Ray Fisher.
See,
I like Ray Fisher a lot. I like him as an actor, but I don't think he was given enough to do, so you couldn't really get a chance to like see what he could do with the character.
See, I think I prefer Ray Fisher as Cyborg than I do with this actor in Doom Patrol. I feel like this guy is not a very good actor, and also the costume is so obviously plastic or like vinyl. Like whenever he moves or turns, you can see like what's supposed to be like hardened metal just kind of like move and crumple with his movements. That it bothers me just a little bit. Anyway,
I would take that though over CGI, the overly amount of CGI that they put in Justice League.
Maybe.
And actually, I don't know if you've been following along on Ray Fisher's profile on his Instagram and some of his social media posts, but he's speaking out against like Joss Whedon and Jeff Johns right now about how they treated him when they were doing the reshoots of Justice League.
I have seen various bits and pieces of this. Maybe we'll make that as a main topic for next week. I don't know. Who knows? Actually, yeah. Have you guys seen any of this news about Ray Fisher calling out Joss Whedon? Oh, shoot. Who was the other director, you said?
Jeff Johns.
Jeff Johns, yeah. Jeff Johns or Joss Whedon. And it wasn't just Cyborg. It wasn't just Ray Fisher that they were mistreating. They were mistreating a lot of other actors and crew on set. And I know other articles have come out since then calling out Joss Whedon on the set of, I think it was Avengers 2. But we all know Age of Ultron was surrounded in all kinds of controversy and stuff, and Joss Whedon had a really terrible time on that film. Anyway, guys, what TV shows or movies have you been watching on quarantine? Anything that you absolutely loved? Anything you absolutely hated? Let us know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that will do it for our mailbag. And now it is time for our final section of the day to take your live questions. So let's go ahead and do that.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
All right, guys, your live questions all show. So now I'm just going to put me and Andy up on the screen side by side. This is going to be us for the rest of the show, and we're just going to go over and take some of your live questions, things that you've been sending in all chat long, I guess. Let me open a separate window here so I can see exactly what it is that I'm working on, because I know there have been a whole bunch of comments come through. I can't see every single one so far, so let me go through and find these posts. Bear with us for 1 second as I find this. And internet is being crazy. Internet's being a little weird right now.
Make sure to screenshot us, by the way.
What it is that I'm working on, because I know there've been a whole bunch. Ooh, playback. That's weird. All right, cool. So the first comment comes to us from Chris Real, and Chris says, "Hi, Mike Brown," which I would like to say, "Hi, Chris. How are you? Hope you're well, my friend." Chris is a very good friend of mine. He's an improviser who lives in Honolulu, Hawaii. If I will, with Chris's permission, of course, I can release some of his improv videos that he has put out on YouTube. Absolutely incredible, absolutely brilliant. Matthew Wiles asks the question, big one, is cinema dead? Disney Plus and Netflix have been smashing films because of COVID. So Matthew, all the way from the UK, is it Birmingham? Do you live in Birmingham? Somewhere around there. North of England. That would be Scotland. North England, I believe, is where Matthew lives. He asks, is cinema dead? My opinion is no. Disney Plus and Netflix have been smashing out films because of COVID. Disney Plus has been hit or miss. They haven't actually been putting that much out on Disney Plus. They have a lot of really small time kind of, dare I say, garbage shows. Netflix has been kind of knocking it out of the park, as well as Amazon Prime and now HBO Max. But yeah, I don't think cinema's dead. No, cinema's going to take we're going to bounce back pretty well, I think. It'll take some time to bounce back, but yeah, Andy, thoughts? Is cinema dead?
Like I said, I think it's going to come back. I think Hollywood's going to rise up again once it goes down the tubes. It'll just be a different structure. I think more content is going to be producer control. So meaning who has more creative control will probably change hands. I think especially now that, I've had my ear to the floor about what agencies are suffering because of this, like talent agencies, whether they're bigger prestige agencies that represent celebrities or lit agencies, and how content is going to be produced. So I think that one of the main things that was consistent in the industry for the past while was packaging deals for agencies, meaning literary agents who repped writers would create packaging deals that would benefit the agents mostly, and they would make a lot of money off of. So now that some of these packaging deals are being dismantled and that new content is being created and restructured, I think that that's going to give more control back to producers and their content, and they may be able to decide whether they want it to be released theatrically or whether they want it to go streaming. So I think there will be more flexibility as far as that the decision that gets made, who makes that decision.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into play with this. I mean, you're not going to make a big budget Hollywood film without getting a lot of people involved in it. So I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of moving components, and everything is fluid. Everything is subject to change until cameras start rolling. Up until cameras start rolling, like they have pulled the plug on so many different productions. It's a lot depends on what type of financing that they can get, who's involved in the project, is everybody sharing the same vision, and as long as they can all get on that page, I think we're going to continue to see the types of stuff that we've been seeing. But no, I don't think cinema is dead. It is far from it. All right, moving on. Matthew Wiles sends in a whole list of comments. First of all, he says, "Am I watching this live?" Why, yes, you are watching this live, Matt. You go on to say, if it's not Spider-Gwen, it will be crap. Not necessarily. I mean, it all depends on the production. It depends on what the story is. I mean, I personally am not a fan of Jessica Drew as Spider-Woman. I don't like that incarnation in the comics. Jessica Drew, I've just never had any interest in. I think Mary Jane Watson as Spider-Woman, I think Gwen Stacy as Spider-Woman is so much better than Jessica Drew. Having said that, I didn't like Deadpool until the movie came out. I just straight up did not like Deadpool at all. I got the character, I just didn't like the character. Pardon me. And then I saw Ryan Reynolds portray him on the big screen, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And then the second movie came out, and I loved it even more. Like, I am a huge fan of Deadpool now, and that was large in part because of the film. If they do a Jessica Drew version of Spider-Woman, I would be interested. I mean, of course I'm going to be interested in anything that Olivia Wilde does in the Marvel quote-unquote universe, Sony universe. I think that would be really interesting, but it all depends on the story. It depends on what aspect of the story they tend to focus on. I'm a huge fan of character. I like to see where people start and where they end up. I think that was a really cool way to go about doing Into the Spider-Verse with Miles Morales. He had a really great character arc, and it wasn't about him receiving powers. It was about him making choices to be a better human being, and it just happened to be fantastical. I don't know, Andy, what do you think?
First of all, I was thinking, like, Was crap his title suggestion for a title of the movie?
If it's not Spider-Gwen, it will be crap. Okay, great. Let's
Coming
have
to
a
theaters.
crap movie.
Or maybe crap will just be released straight to Disney Plus.
Spider crap.
There'll be a new movie.
Yeah.
Crap. And it's a picture of Spider-Woman.
Cool. So let's move on. Matthew Wilde says, "Your voice is fine, Mike. Andy, not so."
Whoa!
Andy, I'm sorry, but the critics have spoken. The person who is a professional voice actor, your voice is not, quote unquote, fine.
Excuse me. Whoa.
Of course.
Everybody's a critic. Well, here's what I have to say. 2 thumbs down to that comment.
Of course, Matthew is referring to all the problems that I've been having with the gain on my audio interface here. So Matthew goes on to say, never heard of Silk. He also goes on to say Margot Robbie. He comments Toy Tuesday, so Matthew wants to be in the running for Jeff Goldblum figure from Thor Ragnarok. Thank you. With Margot Robbie, for whatever reason, brain fart, I just could not think. That happens to me a lot. Yeah, you've never heard of Silk. Silk is one of my favorite characters in the Spider-Verse. I think she's really cool. She has a really cool backstory. Yeah, I just think she's a great character. You say, haven't watched it, might be my weekend film with the missus. I believe you were referring to Ready or Not. Yeah, Ready or Not. I highly recommend it. It's really fun. It's a little crazy, and it's just an interesting film. Matthew Wiles, is this his last comment? It is not his last comment. Second to last comment, he says, Tenet will do well, but not as well as it could have. In the UK, I will need to wear a mask, and not that I'm against masks, but having a beard and a mask for 2.5 hours will be torture. So we'll wait for release to Sky, or if you're not familiar with Sky, Sky's one of the major channels in the UK. You'll wait for it to come out on Sky or something. Feel dirty saying it, but I'm sure I won't be the only one thinking that way. That's true. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. My day job, I work on an airplane. First of all, can I address the fact that you may have to wear your mask for 2.5 hours? I have to wear my mask at work on the airplane. I put it on at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I don't take it off until 7:30 at night. So that is 14 and a half, sometimes 15 hours. No, 9 o'clock actually, because it takes yeah. So sometimes upwards of 16 hours a day I'm wearing my mask because I have to glue it to my face. With glasses, I put like a little glue strip on my face, and then I put the mask on top, and then I put my glasses down, just so my glasses don't get fogged up while I'm wearing the mask. So yeah, I'm wearing my mask upwards of 16 hours a day whenever I have to go to work. So putting it on for 2.5 hours, not a problem for me. However, I do understand having to police mask wearing on the airplane. It is a big problem for a lot of people. People hate wearing masks in public. There's no other way to say it. They absolutely hate it. Andy, when you return to the movie theaters, are you going to be wearing a mask, and is it going to be a problem for you?
Yeah, I definitely will be wearing a mask. I've been masking up and being safe and careful. I go running outdoors a lot, and even though, technically you can be running in outdoors and feasibly get away with not wearing a mask, I'm still masking. So, yes, I will very much be masked.
What do you have to say about, or rather two people that want to wait for some of these releases to come out on home video just to get around the mask thing?
You mean they don't go to the theater, they just watch it at home?
Yeah. Oh.
I mean, safe choice. I completely get it. I would not fault them. I would say that's a great idea and a safe idea. And it's all personal choice at the end of the day. Be safe, be respectful.
You're right. Be safe. Be respectful. Do what works best
Except for this
you.
Matthew guy, who's making fun of my voice. He can, he doesn't have to wear a mask ever. He can walk around without a mask.
There's writing on the wall there. Moving on to the next comment comes from Kimberly Francis, who's my girlfriend. She says, "Hi, I love you." Okay, bye. I love you too, Kim. You are the absolute best. Oh, also, by the way, we're gross. We're disgusting. PDA is something that we do quite often. You're welcome. Back to Matthew Wiles. Is this Matthew's last comment? It is. Matthew's last comment says, "Birmingham, how dare you? It's Yorkshire." Sorry. Oh, excuse me. Matthew lives in Yorkshire, not Birmingham. I knew it was like northern England somewhere. I don't know where exactly in northern England. I know Birmingham is a little bit more, it's more centrally located, but it's north of London. Anyway, Yorkshire, correct me if I'm wrong, Yorkshire is fairly close to the Scotland border. Thank you. You're welcome. Good night. Moving on. 2 more comments. 3 more comments from Robbie Spratt. Robbie says, "I think the last movie I saw in theaters was Richard Jewell on Christmas Eve. Wow, it's been longer than I thought." Right? Richard Jewell.
That was the Olivia Wilde one I was thinking of earlier.
Yes. Oh, that's right. That's right. That was a great movie. I really enjoyed it. Fantastic. Robbie goes on. So far, I think the best movie I've watched during quarantine has been 1982's The Thing. Robbie, is this the first time that you're seeing John Carpenter's The Thing? Or was it just the best thing that you watched while on quarantine? Little clarification there. I'm really interested to know. You go on to say, "I never saw it because I don't like horror movies." Same. But it was excellent. Much more psychological thriller than horror. That is true. A lot of the horror films from like the 70s and 80s, pretty much anything like mid-80s backwards, if it's horror, I'm okay with for the most part. Oh man, like current horror films, like for those movies that try to instill fear in you, no thank you. But yeah, John Carpenter's The Thing was excellent. Andy, thoughts on The Thing?
Oh, I loved it. The effects in it are fantastic. You know, when it becomes like a dog and a spider, oh, it creeped me out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not my favorite John Carpenter movie. Halloween will be my favorite, followed by the one where it's Rowdy Roddy Piper and he puts on those glasses. They Live. Like, it will be Halloween and They Live will be my favorite John Carpenter movies, though.
Pretty cool. I've never seen either because I don't do horror films for the most part.
They Live actually is not a horror movie. It is a sci-fi movie that has some suspense. It has aliens, and it's where it originated the line it originated the classic line, "I came here to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble gum."
I know the line. I just never knew what movie it was from. That's fantastic. Maybe we'll do a watch party sometime. That would be awesome. Robbie Spratt goes on to say, "I was also pretty impressed with Extraction and The Old Guard on Netflix." You know, I haven't watched either one. I have not heard great things about Extraction, but I heard The Old Guard was quite good. Andy, have you seen either of these films?
I have not seen either of these films.
Old Guard, obviously starring Charlize Theron, thank you, and Extraction, Chris Hemsworth. It also came from the production company of the Russo brothers. I think that was the first film the Russo brothers put out under their new production company banner. Again, like, critics didn't care for it all that much. I heard the action was absolutely incredible. It was like some of the best action you've ever seen. But the story, the character development was a little lacking. Maybe we'll have to go through and do a review of it. Same thing with The Old Guard. Haven't seen it, but I heard it was really good. It was the kind of film that you would expect to have come out in theaters and not go straight to Netflix. Netflix hasn't exactly had the best... what's the term I'm trying to think of? Hasn't had the best track record when it comes to films. Their television shows, top notch. Movies, hit or miss. And Robbie finishes it out. Oh, he doesn't finish it out. He says, first time for the thing. Thank you again for that clarification. Matthew Wiles, just to clarify. Andy, you're going to like this. Just to clarify, Andy's voice is like butter in my ears. Aww. His job is safe. Your job is safe, but sometimes he was quiet. Please don't kill me. That is probably a large in part due to the fact that my game is all over the place. Who knows how again, this show is still new. We're still in our infancy. We're still trying to figure out how this thing works. So live broadcasting is a conundrum to many of us. There we are. Live broadcasting is a conundrum to many of us, so I'm still kind of figuring out, learning the ropes, seeing how it goes. Anyway, guys, I think that will do us for this installment of Gotta Love Them Movies Live with Mike. Thank you so much for joining and commenting and being a part of the film fan community. We're going to do the show again tomorrow, same time, same bat channel. Anyway, let's close it off. If you like this video, please click like. If you really like this video, click subscribe. And if you really, really like this video, click share. Because that is exactly what Andy Danish would want you to do. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Please speak kind words to each other. Wear your mask when you're in public. Be smart, be respectful. We all live in a world where we all have differing opinions, different thoughts. One of the reasons that I love to talk about movies is that in the end, it doesn't matter. We can debate all we want. We can be as vicious as we want. Like I said, in the end, it just doesn't matter. But when we are in the real world, when we are talking about things that matter, please, let's do so respectfully. Let's try to give each other the benefit of the doubt, listen to each other's thoughts and opinions, and let each other feel like people. Let's let humanity be humanity. Andy, thank you so much for joining us on today's show. Tell us where people can find you.
You can catch me at Well, let's see. I told you I was on Stinky Dog at the moment, which is a show that's airing internationally. I'm also, you can hear me on the kids show Peking Duckling, which is also right now on Netflix. It was first on Disney Junior, but moved over to Netflix. And you could catch more of my stuff. Oh, and there's the upcoming, be sure to check out the upcoming game, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, which will be released on multiple consoles. They keep pushing it back, but if you like vampires and you like first-person shooters, if you're a fan of Resident Evil, you will like this game. And you can see more about me at my handle is @AndysVoice, or you can go to www.andydanish.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for giving us your thoughts and opinions and your expertise in the entertainment industry. Everybody, my name is Mike Brown. See you later.